What's up?
I gotta mute the stream. I was enjoying the combat music too much. The Destiny
Oh,
music's so good.
I was just surprised that Jake finally conceded and said that Marmite is better. He just needed to find the right brand. That was just I was just surprised. So good on you,
I'm
mate.
a neither person. I hate that stuff.
Well, no, I'm with you. I'm with you. I haven't tried either of them, but they both sound like a mouthful of vomit. So I mean, I'm right there with you. But Jake
I had
finally
to.
found a brand. What brand did you say it was, Jake?
Well, you're making this conversation up so you can make the brand up too if you'd like.
um, I had to for a charity stream incentive. I had to have a entire big spoon full of Vegemite. Oh, that was horrible. That was a.
I can eat
I'd
Vegemite by the
never do
spoon.
that.
I enjoy it. Like, I enjoy it
Yeah,
that much.
I was with a friend on the stream, and she could handle it fine.
Yeah.
I was nearly throwing up. Now, Vegemite is so disgusting to me. But it's okay. I already get enough hate because I don't like tomato sauce. So,
I'm so sorry. I was just reading that. I was just reading that. What?
oh yeah, no, I saw. Oh wow, I thought that was for us.
Is this Warmonger? Wasn't the last Fortune's favor Joey did was for Cell's armor or something? Something for Cell?
I have no idea what you're
wow.
talking about.
No, you don't. All right, I know exactly what happened there.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Jeez.
So, anyways, I only we at my mom's tomato sauce, so I'm with you, Tesh. I only we at my mom's tomato sauce too, if you know what I'm saying. The fuck?
I don't know what you're saying.
I think
Neither
someone
do
is
I.
using a phone.
Well,
I
listen.
think someone is using a phone and got autocorrected.
No. They're from Boston. They're just drunk. So what time is it?
Look, I'm walking. It's hard to dive.
8:48 a.m. They're drunk. They're definitely drunk. That's just how it goes. That's how we at up here. So
Look, I cannot talk like my typos are the worst. I'd like I typo so much I can read typo a lot of the time.
jeez. All right, Tesh, back to you. So Minerva is sitting there and says, it's strange converging on a point such as this, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Then she turns her attention to Viggo and says, battle tactician. Right, yeah, battle tactician. It's a pleasure meeting you.
Do you have a rank?
She does. She yeah, she does. She happens to be a battle centurion.
Ooh, she got promoted.
He'll salute and say, the pleasure is mine, Battle Centaurian.
Please, no formalities needed. And she'll gesture for you to take a seat. She says, how did you get mixed up with this lot? You know, referring to him.
Let's say, in Climë.
Please correct me if I'm mistaken, but you seem to be rather straight-backed, and your accent suggests well-bred Perrin of likely Paradel. Are you serving in Climë for some other reason?
We all serve. I happen to be a Metahina.
Yeah, so as you say, we all serve. She kind of like gives that I understand. And he said, I happen to be Matahina. And she just continues to nod through it and says, We all have our reasons, don't we? But for the expansion and of Paradel and for the security of all of Eroth, you're heading out of the gate. Any news worth sharing? And actually, Garfon would chime in and say, I've already asked. And should nod and say, well, hopefully things are not as they seem, and the warden has everything in order. Does he seem like the kind of person, as his reputation proceeds, that would have well enough evidence to prove his remaining here for, let's just say, the past 3 months continuously?
One thing that we did here was that nobody stationed at the gate leaves the gate. And the warden has not left the gate.
Very well.
I imagine, given the difficulty in leaving via anything other than the stream cutters, gesturing to the one, like in the direction of the one that went past earlier. I imagine it'd be fairly easy to confirm whether he's left.
It would be. It would be, at least I believe it would be. And she kind of like gestures over towards Grafon, who you know has his tactics. And then she looks back at the two of you and says, have either of you heard the name Reno the Destroyer before?
Would I have heard it?
Probably not. You're a bit removed. And the incidents that took place at Reno the Destroyer, well, it was in the military. You guys were actually both in the military at the time. Yeah. So I imagine no. Jake, you can roll a history check. Or a knowledge local check, even. So you contemplate it, of course. And you come to realize, knowledge local probably would have been more appropriate, but that's history is fine. You actually did hear of the incident out in Momley.
Yes, I heard of the incident with Momley.
Did you? Well, allow me to present something to you. And she pulls out a sketch, a drawing. And considering that Minerva is a bit talented with using chalk and whatnot, on our travels to the gates, I stopped by Momley and by the town just north of Momley is Zolgov, and inquired the citizens there. Anybody that was particularly familiar with Rena the Destroyer, asked them to describe her to the best of their ability. After several different sketches, charcoal, thank you, Steve. After several different sketches, I was able to come up with this depiction. And she presents it to you so you can see an image of, the way Rena looks, which is a parent female with a kind of like a stern face, armor, so on and so forth. It's a bust kind of picture. So we're talking like shoulders up, not like a full body.
Given the situation, and given that Galen had a bit of respect for the oven here, I am going to try and perfectly memorize it with auto hypnosis.
Go ahead.
That's DC 15 to
memorize as well.
It's the image of Goth Rita from Twitter.
Oh, I fucking
and Natty 20. Beautiful.
I memorize it.
Beautiful. If there was ever a time. And so she says that she hands it over to you and says, "Does this person look familiar to you at all?"
Not at all. But I know their face now, and I'll pass it on to Viggo.
Yeah, Viggo would of course look it over. And she gives Viggo kind of a look to see if he recognizes it.
I've never seen this woman in my life.
Before I left Renetslav back in Jovincia, I did a similar thing where I asked around anybody who had witnessed the combat that happens, anybody who had witnessed the strange situation as it played out, from the Jovenheer's home to the whorehouse where they hid. We asked several different questions of what it was that this never mind looks like, and produces another charcoal image and presents it forward. You can see it's a striking similarities. Obviously, it's not the same exact image, right? Different degrees of its glances, different investment, different amount of time spent there, so on and so forth. But definitely like very, very similar images that were sketched out.
If it's like that obvious, Galen would almost be like, and instead of handing it to Viggo, just sort of like tilt it in his direction to be like, and then hand it back.
Seems like your investigation is easier then. It seems to be this rebel and whoever she has with her.
In Climë gone sour, as far as I understand it. She also travels with somebody else who goes by the name of Ophios. And she presents forward 3 different images of an Ophios. Seems to be a shapeshifter.
Ah, well, it looks like a case closed. And Viggo kind of laughs.
Nods. And then, as far as I've been able to see the image in Gerfon's mind, she says, which is probably a little bit of strange phrasing for Viggo, but you perfectly know what that means, Galen. And she produces one last image for you guys to see, completing a set of 6 images. And it's a perfect depiction of Yondis.
Now, so
hold on. It's a perfect depiction of Yondis. Did somebody else grow up in Oslo?
Yes, I did. Yes. Sorry.
Oh.
Didn't catch on there. I didn't know he was from there. Okay.
I need you to go ahead and roll me an intelligence check.
From the other campaigns,
but the DC for you is not very high. It's a DC 8. Oslo. Oslo is the real city. Thanks for reminding me of my own place, because you live near the other one. Anyways, you very quickly recognize the Eliteland.
Well, sorry. What's his surname?
what?
Eliteland, unfortunately.
Oh.
He changed the pronunciation. We all thought there was an I. It was Elitan, but apparently that was an L, and we all thought it was an I, but we were wrong. And so apparently it was Eliteland, and we all hate it, but we will suffer through Eliteland because it is his character.
Well, yeah. Seeing that, this man is from the Eliteland family, if I'm not mistaken.
Do you know his name? She says, a little bit surprised.
I do know his name.
Yondis.
Yondis.
You guys are similar. You guys are similar aged.
Yeah.
Yeah. He also was destined to become a Metahina. He actually was, I think, a Metahina for a few months or a year or whatever it was, and then Mommy had a baby. So he's actually similar paths and whatnot. But you spent a lot of your time. So earlier years you would have known him, and like at the very end you would have known of him. But you spent a lot more time schooling, where he was an idiot. So he's from Florida.
Wow, this is a lot more tied to register than I realized. I love it.
Yeah, well, he just says, yes, Yondis Eliteland, I believe.
Yondis Eliteland. We'll have to check in on his family.
You should.
One thing I want to note here, because it is like as much as he's not here to role play, when I went downstairs to change, I probably would have brought Tristan over to drink, even if he's just in the background for this.
Oh, would you have? Oh, but you know, he likes his alone time with his horsey.
Right, well.
If I would have told him then what was happening then, and if he chose to stay down there, then that's fine. We can fill him in later.
Okay. So either way, she kind of like looks over all those details with you to make sure that, you know, there's a full understanding or whatever. And yeah. So what she says, so it seems as though we've discovered it is definitively Rita the Destroyer, as well as there being an Ophios who is a shape changer, and a Yondis Eliteland. There's another few known, what's the word I'm looking for? Accomplices, not accomplices, allies, accomplices, whatever the word would be. To Rena, there was a Maltese by the name of Elijah. If you're familiar with this, Elijah, she looks and then realizes that it's a no, and then kind of shakes her head and says, "I'm sorry. I was just seeing if there was maybe any other information that you might have for me." Well, I suggest you commits those. She says to Gallon, I suggest you burn those images into your mind. And if you have any leads in the future, because of how dangerous they are, I do not suggest approaching them individually. Use caution.
So that's for Yondis, and then with Ophios. I mean, I'm not gonna do auto hypnosis because there's no point in, for at least in his mind, if he's a shapeshifter, there's no point in trying to do the proper this is just normal commit to memory rather than like burn into mind.
Yep. But she did say in a Maltese named Elijah. You wouldn't know who Elijah is. Very likely you wouldn't know who Elijah is because you're not a mage.
Yeah,
Actually, Elijah was experimented on.
Huh.
That's part of his backstory. So, you want to go ahead and roll me an intelligence check?
Okay. Oh.
It's up to you if you want to luck that or if you feel as though an 11 is appropriate.
Feel free to luck it if you would like to.
No, I think I'm gonna leave that one. As much as I'm me interested, Gallon not so much. That Gallon is he would perk up at hearing like someone from Malta, but I don't think he'd really like dive into it too much.
Okay. So she says it's believed they were spending time in Malta just prior to the attack, but we can't guarantee this because we don't have many ties in Malta. And she lets that kind of drag on.
Interesting. Can I think of anywhere I might have like found it easy to hide out near the border before I crossed over? Because I had to flee to get there.
Funny enough, through Jovincia. Sorry, Jovance,
yeah.
Yeah. Because the border between the two is, because they're allies, so the border between the two is a soft border, you know.
Yeah, I would suggest if you're looking for somewhere they might have held up, Yvance was where I held up before I crossed the border. There's a couple of really easy places that's really easy to cross over into both, unfortunately. Malta and finding your way to the Paradale border.
Yes, it seems as though they may have retreated back into Jovance. They may have gone further into Jovincia. Either way, we lost them in Renetslav. They seemed to disappear. We know that they went down into the tunnels. There was a bit of a collapse that happens in an old building, and we discovered tunnels there. But by the time that we followed them, they were gone, and we had other tasks to look after. Many leads to follow, many allies to trace down for those that chose to take the life of the Yavin here. Did you know that Barbara Barnes might be considered treasonous?
Why am I remembering that name?
Well, because Wade hates it.
Who that is?
Barbara's the name that Wade hates, and Barnes is his last name.
So,
you would know who Barbara Barnes is because, again, you have to roll a history check there, Jake.
That's. Do you know the story behind why he hates Barbara?
Wow. That's a why? Who hates Barbara? Him? Yeah. That's the name of the NPC in the
Uno.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Barbara Barnes was the battle commander underneath a different was a field commander underneath the high commander of one of the high commanders of Vala before. But after his life was taken, mysteriously, his life was taken in a fire, so on and so forth, up by some small town, she actually got promoted. And now she is the high commander, one of the 3 high commanders of Vala. She happens to be in Zatishk.
Huh.
Viggo's eyes widen. Doesn't say anything.
Yep. She
They should watch you. They say that type of stuff too.
Yeah. Good thing Galen has no clue what's going on. He's like, not the person's name to take note of.
The Viggo is literally saying in his mind, he's just like, you should really watch what you say.
So you talk about to them?
I don't say that to them.
No.
won't
You're
say
thinking about them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah.
so she says seems as though there's much to investigate indeed. Well,
Indeed.
I think if there's nothing else that you could offer in this matter, both of us have important tasks to get to. And unfortunately, one of the things we must get to is the bottom of this glass. And she'll kind of like raise hers and take like a long draw there to finish it.
As a note, with Galen probably wouldn't finish his drink because when he's drinking on duty, he's doing that sip thing that he always does, where he deliberately doesn't try to drink too much. But he drink whenever like there's a big like cheer, he'll cheer and then sip, make it look like he's drinking more, but obviously not drink as much.
Mm-hmm.
Just he doesn't like the feeling of being drunk.
So after you guys kind of like finish this up and you guys, go to leave and say your goodbyes or whatever it is. And she says, again, I'm sharing this information with you because obviously you're a close friend. But if you see anything, please make sure it finds its way to us.
Of course.
The Yavin here's life was taken.
Yes, and I hope you bring whoever the hell did it to proper justice. And I tell you, if I meet them first, there's sort of like a nod of like, I'll.
Yeah, she does again give that like, kind of like you can see her kind of like put on that face that's commanding officer, right? She says, "Do not engage alone. It's too dangerous. The Yavin here's life was taken in his own home. They have abilities about them, as Gerfon has told you. Don't engage alone. I would suggest avoiding them if you can, or if you must engage with them, try to keep things as mild as possible. We don't want you losing your life as well."
No, I agree. If I do encounter them, best I can do is keep on their trail. That's one thing I am good at.
She nods. And then she'll actually similarly kind of like, and again, this is a little unusual, but not super unusual. It's just because you're not super familiar to the military life there, Jake. She'll actually pull him in and give him a hug because they're like a family, even if she happens to be a commanding officer. They're kind of like a family together. And as she's like kind of like releasing him from the hug, you actually hear Gafon say, "Oh, in the name of the gods." And he looks at Viggo and gestures at him and says, "Do you know why his name is Galen?" And then he reaches down and picks up the glass because that's how much liquor he leaves behind every time.
Galen will give a proper laugh to that. Oh, well, gotta keep sharp.
He rolls his eyes and throws back your drink.
More for you anyway.
And you guys, of course, take your part. Tristan, of course, gives it a oh, it's good.
Do we hear that from below deck? Is that
No, he brought him.
We'll say he was there in the background.
Yep. Tristan was just quietly listening to the conversation.
This is probably what, if he was here, this would be the sort of thing that would be way over his head. He's like, I shouldn't be hearing this.
So anyways, yeah, you guys make your way back onto your boat. Eventually you're going to kind of, weigh anchor, and continue your path down the stream. Oh,
I would
did you give him a tea bag?
Actually,
I didn't.
You wouldn't have?
No.
I might have suggested. I might have told. You know what? I would tell them about it. If we didn't have any to spare, I wouldn't have given them any. But I probably would have brought it up with Viggo. And I assume we don't have any to spare.
No.
How much do we have, Scott?
I mean, since somebody took like a good bit, you have about 2 sacks left.
Okay, so
And they're
probably
both
not enough to
soaking
spare.
inside the water.
Yeah, I would just give them advice that the honeysuckle smell seems to keep them at bay. And would I know if his abilities give off more of the smell than mine? Because I know mine are a lot different to the way that they work.
Yeah, you're not exactly a kineticist, so
Yeah.
and telekinesis is what often has the honeysuckle smell to it. So his abilities are actually a little bit different than that. He has a little bit of that kind of stuff, but that's mostly not what he focuses on. So
Well,
yeah.
I would tell them that's a good way to keep them running. Or fire. I would tell them that as well, just in case they don't know. And don't let them get in the water. And that'd be the sort of like last goodbyes sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. The last thing that they would do before you leave is Minerva would actually, as you guys are back on your boat, she would actually kind of call back out to you one more time and say, excellent, you might need this. And she'll like take something and kind of, toss it over to you. As you go to catch it, you look down and you actually see that she tosses a crystal over to you. And it is a power stone. Well, technically it's I can't remember the name of it. A cognizance crystal. It's a 2 power point cognizance crystal. Is what you eventually realize it is. If you're not familiar with the cognizance crystal is, the short version is you can, by putting your own PowerPoints into it, you can store PowerPoints into it to use at a later date. So if you ever tax yourself to the point you're at 0, you can use the last 2 inside there. The only rule with the cognizance crystal is you cannot combine dual sources. So you can't use PowerPoints out of your mind and out of the crystal simultaneously.
If something costs 3, I couldn't use
Correct.
2 from that and 1 from me. Yeah, that
Correct.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I'm gonna
and so she, like I said, she tosses that over to you, and says, as you kind of like look down and you kind of like feel the psychic resonation inside there, which is kind of nice because if there's PowerPoints in there, that means those PowerPoints weren't put there by you. It was likely put in there by probably her or one of them. So it's kind of like you're almost carrying a small bit of their psyche with you, which is kind of like a nice little token, right?
Yeah.
But on top of that, she says, Jen has been doing some interesting research lately. You should visit her when you get a chance.
Will do. Thanks. And he'll like put it away in his bag before he changes back into crystals.
Yep. And so you, like you said, put it back inside your bag, and you guys can kind of like dislodge from there and start making your way the rest of the way upstream. So you guys are making your way the rest of the way upstream. You guys had stopped there for a little while, so on and so forth. So it's at this point in time where there's the only chance or there might be something bad that happens to you. I will allow it to be a whopping 5% chance. You can name somebody in chat to roll a D1000, and more or less if they roll a let's say 951 to 1,000, something would happen.
Go ahead, Tash.
Tash, roll it in Twitch chat. D1000.
Oh yeah. Okay. I tried to do slash D1000. That doesn't work.
Nowhere nears. You are more than safe. All right. Anyways, so you make your way the rest of the way out of the area with little to no incidents. There at one point in time, the surges continue to swarm around you again. You light up the rest of your candle that you happen to have there because it's going to keep them at bay. You're far enough outside towards the edge of the swamp. You're not too worried about the scrags, and you have the honeysuckle around you. So utilizing the all the assets that you have to keep you safe in this area, it does its job. It keeps you safe. You guys are able to leave the area well enough. Your shoulders are absolutely killing you. What's up?
Once we're out of the swamp, I would drop the astral suit ready to pick up the people.
Your arms are absolutely killing you, all of you, just absolutely killing you. Your Jesus, Resort. Your arms are absolutely killing you. What's his name? Poor Viggo is actually sick. Like his stomach is turning. He doesn't feel well. He's got kind of like a fever sweat going on because obviously he's just weaker right now.
He's rest.
Yeah. On top of that, every time you get bit by a Stirs, there's a chance that something bad can happen. Hey, V-Sword loves teabags, so why don't we have V-Sword roll a D100 for me real quick, just to see if he needs to make a fortitude save. And while we wait for that result, ooh. Jake, why don't you go ahead and make me a fortitude save?
Uh-oh.
I'll make it, but you didn't state what was good and bad, so...
Oh, low is bad as the default.
He has been doing that, unfortunately. Oops.
She says oops and cackles to herself.
13.
What is it? 13? Oh, okay, sorry, because the die over here was covering up. 13? Okay, cool. Mm-hmm. And can I just have Green go ahead and roll me a D3, please, and thank you. Don't worry about it. It's all good.
It's all good, is it?
So you guys make your way the rest of the way out of the camp, but again, your shoulders are killing you. All of you guys, your shoulders are killing you, and you feel like, oh god, you're just exhausted, just like, oh god, get that fever sweat going on. It's not so much as hot as balls inside the swamp. Like it's just gross in there because even if the temperature's not incredibly high, it's so humid. It's just nasty. Yeah. It's just so gross. So, anyways, you make your way out of the camp and start kind of joining up with the rest of your team. It takes so long to actually get all the way out here that realistically, once you get out of the stream or whatever that's here, you're pretty much just going to weigh an anchor and rest here as the crew is kind of coming aboard. There's no need to have to continue sailing and whatnot and dealing with that whole situation. While all of you guys need rest, they have to come back aboard and make sure everybody's good, so on and so forth.
Your turn. Come on, your turn.
So you guys
all day.
You guys will be able to dock up. You've been resting for days, actually. You guys have been able to dock up over here and get off of the damn boat and actually sleep on some dry land for the last time before you head all the way back south. And it's kind of like in the V shape of the map that's there. If you look right above Merrick on the map, if you're looking at the Paranormal map, you can actually stay in the middle of the V shape that's there. And it's kind of like lay down and get a bit of rest. You know what I mean? So the next day after that, you're able to kind of start making your actual trek south again. As you're making your trek south, you guys are finally going with the current. For the first time since the small little bit, you're finally going with the current. It's gonna be so much easier. Everybody's job is so much easier. You're gonna be making a lot more what's the word I'm looking for? Travel. Much better time for you this time. So as you're heading south, you very quickly are able to find yourself into Merrick the next day. Once everybody kind of gets up early in the morning, you start heading yourself south. Poor Jake has got still sweats or whatever. He's fine now.
How many days has it been?
2 days.
So do I get con back?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Since you got bit, the first night you didn't get proper sleep, but this night you did. You did get proper sleep. You just can't administer long-term care to yourself. So, so you get 1 constitution back. So you are feeling a bit better, but again, you just have like this weakness to you. You know what I mean? So very swiftly, you're able to start traveling back south again. South, and the first place you're going to come across is Merrick. Merrick is the last one you saw going the other direction. Needless to say, they flag you down to pull into the port.
Do we bother?
No, we continue.
I mean, you are going the other direction now. Tristan would inform you. Nah, we good.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we good.
Yeah.
We don't even have the cargo this time. It's literally just us.
So when you guys do not stop the boat, you can actually see that there's somebody furiously quibbling away inside of a book that they have on hand as you do so.
Who we think it is?
And there is a single arrow is actually let loose at you guys.
Ooh.
Let me just make an attack roll real quick because this is very
That's
important.
interesting.
Yep. 1 second. Oh, good. Whew. AC's 10. AC's 10 to hit an object. Okay. Whew. I was like, oh no, where's this going to go? A 91 would have been bad. So anyways, they let loose a single arrow, which comes and it lands in the deck of the ship. Not particularly close to anybody, but in the deck of the ship. I imagine the indignation, but you guys would realize that the arrow that was let loose at your ship does have a note attached to it, a notice attached to it. So you go over and you kind of like unfurl the note that's attached to the arrow and you read it. It shows that you are in violation of the laws of Merrick and Vala, and that you need to pull over immediately at the southern docks, lest you are, putting yourself at risk to be persecuted as, to the full extent of the law. And you guys, of course, ignore it and keep going. And certainly, I imagine you don't pull into the Paranhia side of the ports either, because Merrick is a town that's on both sides.
Yeah, no, we don't.
Okay. And the Paranhia side, it's one of those things where when you don't pull into that side and you look out and you see it, very similarly, you get another single arrow is let loose.
We have the flag of
The River King.
yeah.
Yep.
We have that display.
You have the green flag. Oh yeah, of course.
Display. Yeah,
of course it is. And this one actually lands beautifully into a mast over nearby where you guys would be standing. And so similarly, it's a very, very, very similarly phrased warning, but this time to the full extent of the law of Paranhia. So they just kind of like inform you of this. That being said, y'all called their bluff, because when they say this, nobody rides after you. Nobody comes after you in boats. Nobody does anything. They don't. They don't. They probably know better or recognize who your boat is and what had transpired prior.
Can I tell you how tempted I was to write no thanks and put an arrow back? I decided not to, but I was very tempted. Gallon wouldn't. Tesh would.
So anyways, because of the speeds that you travel very quickly, you're going to be able to find your way into Moretsk. Moretsk was actually the last location where it kind of made sense for you to pull over before, but you chose not to. I mean, you did. It was one of those where it's like, we don't really need to, but fine.
This was the one where we did because we thought, okay, we'll appease them, we'll do it. And then the next one, when they did it again, we were like, okay, why? And then they held us there for ages, and that's when we were like, no.
When you go passing by Moretsk, this time as you're passing through there, because of the speed at which you're traveling, it's going to be in the evening when you guys are passing through. It's kind of like, I shouldn't say evening, I should say nighttime when you guys are passing through. And as is typical when you're passing through the town at nighttime, you guys are going to, slow down a little bit. Just because obviously there's limited vision and whatnot in the area, even if there are lanterns lit and hung over the stream area. So you guys are going to slow down a little bit, and so you will hear somebody call out, "Aren't you going to port? Aren't you going to port?"
Up to you.
If we're not going to port, then I say no.
Is your paperwork in order?
Yeah,
we would have paperwork from our thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
He says, of course.
Where was your last port? He says, kind of like walking, because again, you're not moving very quickly, kind of like walking along the side and calling out to you. And it would have been the gate. So you would say, Magadan.
Yeah. I'll say it then.
Magadan.
When you say Magadan, he goes, oh. And then that's it. That's the end of the conversation.
Yeah, that's all.
Because again, reputation precedes the place for those that know what it is. And this is one of the few areas where people would actually be passing supplies through to there. So just say, oh. And then the first location where you guys would actually pull into port would be down in Sochin. That's actually a spot where it'd be like, it's appropriate for you to pull in there. And so you would do so to get your paperwork done, right? But by the time you get there, it's the next morning. The next morning is definitely when you would be waking up down in that area. Can I actually get hey, V-Sword, you want to roll me a D4?
Would Jacob clean up another point of con?
Yes, he would wake up with one more point of con damage removed, which is absolutely good news, right?
Yep.
Yeah. He's down missing only one constitution. Which again is absolutely good news. Just waiting to see if V-Sword rolls that. If not, I'm gonna have Steve roll that D4 in 5.
Steve will do it so
4,
fast.
3, 2, 1, and
I'll make you go.
steal it, Steve. Well, he likes to give other people that I call it first a chance.
Oh, there we go. Steve always rolls max.
So you wake up,
done,
you have
Steve?
a little bit of your constitution back. Unfortunately, your eyes are burning as you wake up this morning, and you feel incredibly weak. First of all, you're missing 4 points of strength damage. And you need to go ahead and roll me a fortitude save.
Okay.
Are you happy with that result?
16's pretty solid for fortitude.
So it's important to note, it doesn't matter for that fortitude save didn't pertain to now, that pertains to the future, right? So what's important to note is that you can't see. You wake up feeling weak. You're still missing some of your constitution, and you can't see. Your vision is blurred. You have this like strange gooping in your eyes. It's you can't see. Fortunately for you, I'm a doctor. Damn it. What is that? I'm not an archaeologist. I'm a doctor. Damn it. So fortunately for you, you actually are a doctor. So to diagnose disease, that you can actually roll a knowledge nature for that, because that's actually how you do these kind of things.
Yeah.
You can go ahead and roll that. You have a penalty because you're doing it on yourself blinded.
Can Vigil help?
But so you have a -5, but you get to contemplate it, so you get the +2 back. So it's in theory just a -3. Virgil can go ahead and roll to see if he can aid another.
So knowledge nature, okay, and this is +1 extra. Ooh, so that's 17.
Okay, so he gives you a +2, and your crystal your thing gives you a +2, so you have a -1 total.
Because Virgil can still only communicate with me, so it's going to be like he's there helping and he's telling me what to say, and I'm like, you got to do this. It might be he's saying it might be this.
All right, hang on.
Norwegian green, son, you got scraglids.
Just wait 2 seconds so I can apply.
Virgil wouldn't do knowledge nature. Virgil will actually do a heal check. Is technically what it is.
I don't know if Virgil has a heal check.
Technically speaking, it's heal. He rolls knowledge nature. because he's
Oh.
special.
Okay, no, I mean I don't even like Virgil. Literally doesn't have the capability of rolling a heal check. That's
So
not
you
an
still
option.
have a total of a -3 then. Sorry, Jake. Instead of a -1. Is +2 from your crystal, -5 from the. Is something wrong, Jake?
Trying to help myself. So give me a sec.
I love how Australians always say me. So funny. It makes me chuckle every time.
Just
Like one of
give
those-
me literally 10 seconds.
You want to pass me water?
I'm gonna fill up my drink while this happens.
No, if you were to write that, would you write it MY or would you write it ME? Right?
Oh,
'Cause
that's
it's-
right, what?
so the word is myself, like MYSELF. Do you write it MY, but you pronounce the Y differently, or do you write it ME? Because it sounds like it's like a.
I
It sounds
write
more like a.
NY.
Oh, would you? Okay. Because it almost sounds like it's an M apostrophe self, like myself.
I'd only write it ME if I was like being cheeky in the way that I was writing, deliberately like playing up the accent.
Gotcha.
Alright, well, I'm actually going to take my cognitigen and help me out here because I need to know what's going on.
I imagine you're smashing around down there trying to find, like, where is it? Where is it, damn it? Where is it?
Yeah.
And then you find, you're like, trying to figure this out.
Alright. Let me put that on.
Can he grab the right
Grab
vial?
the right vial.
Specifically, his mutagens or cognigens,
Yeah.
I imagine those are in very specific vials. Because you have to imagine in the heat of combat, you'd want to be able to feel them by touch. So.
yeah.
Oh, or this is the situation that makes you standardize your bottle usage. Oh, does he grab the right vial is a really good thing.
No.
Why don't we say it's 75% chance he grabs the right vial?
No.
Why have
I
you done
know
this?
my.
Why don't we say that?
There is
What have you
no
done?
75% chance.
Yeah.
I know my kit.
Say this is 75%.
No, we
Learn to
cannot.
self-learn braille.
Alright, so I am going to roll my.
Yo, Steve, go ahead and roll me that D100.
No thanks. Nope, not happening. I know my alchemy kit. Alright, I'm gonna roll my nature check now.
Look at that. See, you're fine. You're fine. You grabbed the right
Wow,
vial.
dead middle.
Yep.
Why is that not working?
Uh,
Alright. And that's why I needed it.
does that include your -3?
Doesn't look
No.
like it's got a
So you have a 20 flat, which is turn around.
No, because I have it'd be 21, I think, or 22.
Why?
Because I have that thing that doubles my int bonus to knowledge skills.
Perfect recall.
Yep.
Isn't that already applied? It should already be
I
applied.
think that looks like it is applied because it's plus a lot.
Look at your
Yeah,
character
because
sheet.
I added it on. I added the 2 on from that. So,
Viggo.
So I think it is 20 by the looks of it.
I think it's 20.
20,
Yeah,
yeah.
dude, 20 is a
He
solid
gets a
number.
-3 from
Yeah.
from the others.
Yeah. All that's on there. Yeah, you're good. All right, cool. So, moving on. So with your 20 total, are you happy with that? You don't want to luck that, do you?
I don't have any luck to luck it with.
Sure.
I think 20 is
Totally
pretty
don't have
good.
any luck. All right. So, anyways, with the 20, you're actually able to realize that this is blinding sickness, or if you want to call it scraglets. I love the idea of it being called scraglets. So it's called blinding. So it's classically called blinding sickness. The way blinding sickness works is you're gonna have to make 2 fortitude saves to survive this, but it's going to be 1 fortitude save today, and if you succeed, 1 fortitude save next time. But it has to be 2 consecutive saves to successfully beat this. And this is not a light disease either. This is actually legitimately very rough disease. Now, the cool thing is diseases can actually be treated. People can actually use the treat disease skill under heal. To treat a disease means to tend to a single diseased character. Every time the diseased character makes a saving throw against a disease effect, you make a heal check. If your heal check exceeds the DC of the disease, the character receives a +4 bonus to the saving throws against the disease. It takes about 10 minutes. Because you, in fact, you were able to identify what disease it is, you could actually successfully try to do this for yourself. However, you have to take a -5 to your skill check to do this because you're trying to, and you can't use your you can't use your lore gem for this because this isn't a matter of knowledge, it's a matter of literally just administering this to yourself. So you can't I'm focusing on it for a 4-round action because it's a 10-minute action that you're doing, right? So you'd have to make a raw roll with a -5 to your roll. So you might want to put that into temp or whatever, and and so you could try to give yourself a +4 to this fortitude save because you can identify it now. And then we're going to get into the more other stuff afterwards. But that being said, you're kind of smashing around and whatnot would likely be noticed by Galen and
Galen would definitely
Tristan.
be trying to help.
So you would probably go there and try to lend a degree of assistance. You can roll a heal check against a DC 10 to try to be helpful as he's giving you, grab this for me, get that for me. No, do it like this.
Hey,
good. You're actually genuinely helpful. And Tristan's just leaning on the doorway, occasionally grabbing something to hand it to you, to hand to him as needed. But we're not having 6 people giving help on this, right? So anyways, that being said, Jake, so you're actually rolling with a -3 total to your check. And you can go ahead and make your check on it for you.
Will do. Put that in, -3.
I think you'd be hard pressed to fail. I think even a natty 1, you'd be hard pressed to fail. Oh, Jesus. I was mistaken. Okay. So you use the only luck you have, but you gave yourself a +4 to your fortitude save for your first fortitude save against this.
Can I make a fortitude save already?
That was about something else entirely different.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, that's
actually
great.
No,
yes.
I can't see at all.
I mean, I would say that within less than a foot of your face, everything is heavily murked.
I was about to say, it's
murky
probably
as hell.
when you have if you've had conjunctivitis, when it's really bad and it's all gunky, I imagine that's what I'm imagining.
So if somebody farts in your pillow, it's from a movie.
Yeah, I hate that stereotype because unfortunately, because of my blepharitis, I get conjunctivitis all the fucking time from nothing.
Rory's had conjunctivitis I want to say 5 times, and she's 5. You have any idea what it's like trying to put those eye drops in a child? Literally sit on them, pin them down, hold their hands back, and squeeze it in their eye. It's not fun when your child is literally being it's heartbreaking as a parent to do that shit, but it's what you have to do.
You need to, yeah.
Yeah. Oy.
I have an idea.
What's your idea? Because you have to roll fortitude save.
Yeah, well, I have an idea though.
I want to know what bullshit you're coming up with.
I can see very close to me, right? It's murky, but I can see.
You can't see, but yes, you're blind.
But you're
I was using RP.
Oh well, then I can't do anything now.
All right.
Can he see shapes or anything?
Dude,
I mean,
had the best idea.
technically speaking, you're blind. But I was, being
you know what you should do
for thematic purposes. You can barely see.
And let me do something.
What are you trying to do?
What do you?
What bullshit are you trying to pull? Well,
I have the Sturge body, which may have the disease that I currently have in it. That's how I got it.
share it with other people. Great idea.
No, I could do some alchemy and get myself a cure to this disease.
No, not now. You can do that for the future, but not now.
I hate you.
You're so. You got to make your check now.
This is this is where I wish this had happened to Galen instead of you.
He did his alchemy.
Didn't want this to happen.
He did his alchemy. That was the knowledge nature check.
Is this the same day as everything's going on?
This is the same day that you woke up in Sochin. Yeah.
Sochin, yeah.
So I still have that -1 to con though.
Correct. -1 to con. Correct. Unfortunately.
Okay.
Fortitude save with a +4.
You got this, I believe. Not 20. Ooh.
Solid. Okay, you
That's
know
like-
you passed.
that's like- yeah,
You
30.
passed one check. That's good news. So you are unfortunately you're blind, and the other fortitude save that you made earlier, if you did more than 3 or greater strength damage, you have to roll to make sure you're not permanently blind. So
Steve, you didn't permanently blinded us.
luckily there's a spell called Remove Blindness that exists, but yeah.
God damn.
So anyways, you're in Sochin. You wake up that morning, you realize you can't see. Your eyes are burning. You try to open them. There's like barely some murkiness. You can barely see shapes in front of your face. Like it hurts. Permanently until cured. Yeah, permanently. Permanent is a duration. Instantaneous is a scary one. Blindness, duration, instantaneous. That's not good. Anyways, so continuing. So you that's what I'm looking for. So sorry. Yeah, so you wake up at Sochin. Your eyes are burning, right? They're kind of crusted shut. They're burning. You feel weak. You literally feel weak. Like, yeah, it's so hard to get out of bed. You're so frustrated because you still feel weak on the inside. Now your muscles are aching and sore. You just feel like absolute hell. There's a fever on you. You cannot get over this. You start like smashing around your bottles and whatnot, not necessarily breaking them, probably cracking a couple of them or whatever it is, until eventually you find the cognigen. You pop it open, you drink it, weakening yourself. How? Your cognigen hurts what? When you bonus your intelligence, it hurts your strength by how much?
2.
What does that bring your strength down to?
6.
Oof.
It only lasts 30 minutes though.
The strength comes back after 30 minutes. It's not like a strength damage thing. Okay, so it's a temporary reduction. Okay. Yeah. So you're so weak, but your mind is on fire. Your mind is like churning really fast. And you quickly kind of call out, Gallon! You know, knowing that Gallon has this crystal of knowledge and whatnot. Gallon, of course, comes into the room and, get this for me. I need that. What? You know, and you kind of like looking around.
That's really cool because he would be able to like call out, get such and such tool, and Virgil would be like, the one on the left. He's like, okay, grab that.
I mean, again, Viggo is very intelligent, and even more so at this juncture, right? So, anyways, you would actually kind of like go around and eventually be able to diagnose exactly what the problem is. Like, did it turn purple or green? It turns green. Wow. Damn.
Green.
You're like. Be like, the conditions may be permanent, but not if I act quick. And then, immediately starts going and starts mixing up some sort of concoction or whatever it is to start burning into your eyes. And I can imagine it's almost like putting something just like super alkaline or whatever it is into them, just like, and you feel this like burning sensation, like kind of like gripping onto like, as you feel like that burning as it's eating away what's kind of infecting your eyes. But hey, science, baby. And you're sitting there and you're in just so much pain. Once this whole thing kind of it passes, this whole situation that we're describing only lasts for like maybe 45 minutes to an hour, everything we just described. And then I imagine you just kind of like sit there and slump into your chair, like, stay, you know. I don't imagine there's much more that Viggo would care to be doing this day because there's nothing else he can do until, aside from changing out bandages or whatever, like medicine that's keeping on to his eyes. You gonna say something, Tesh?
Like, I'm gonna get you a drink.
Yeah. No research shows that alcohol counteracts the medicine, so lots. So, it's up to you though, Jake. The next stretch after Sochin before a proper port is probably about 2 days travel, or close to.
Oh wow, yeah.
So you might, I don't know if your character would want to stay in Sochin until the problem is resolved. God forbid you need help from others, or if you're saying screw it, let's just keep going. We have to report back.
Gallon would suggest that we can probably spare a day just in case, because if the next stretch is a long one like that, getting help would be rather hard. And this is the sort of thing where, like, if there was a reason to stay put a day, this would be it.
Yeah, I would tend to agree.
Okay.
So we'll spend the night or whatever.
Do you call for somebody to lend aid to you? Do you like try to pay a doctor to come and look after you? Okay. So paying for the services of a doctor to come and actually look after you to provide long-term care to you, which is important, I'll get to that in a second, is actually going to cost you a bit. There are kind of like 3 calibers of doctor. Because you happen to be an officer, you can try to get the highest caliber of doctor. That's going to be a diplomacy check for somebody. Whereas the other 2 lower calibers you can get easily. There's a big price difference. So for the lowest caliber of doctor, the one that has, technically they know medicine, that person is going to cost you 5 gold. The one that's going to be the mid caliber that you can definitely get as long as you're willing to spend the gold is going to cost you 55 gold. And the one that's going to be the highest caliber you have to make a DC to get your hands on is going to cost you 155 gold.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll try and get my hands on the top tier.
A top tier. Okay. So that would be somebody else has to make the diplomacy check to go and handle it because you're obviously staying on the boat. So there, of course, you can't exactly draft a letter yourself, but you can have
Tristan probably would.
you can have Gallon maybe draft you up a letter and you can easily sign it. You could sign a letter with your eyes closed. There's no questions on that. It's like, where am I doing this? You can sign that, no problem. Right.
Neil, where are you, Neil? We need you because I am not diplomacy.
So hey, the captain needs a little bit of help.
He's got better than a 0. I've got a 0 diplomacy.
Want to come and help him out? Oh, look at that! Look at that, mate.
Yeah, see, he's good. He's good.
Do you guys want to luck that, or are you happy with the 19?
Well, could I not have tried to assist by dictating to him?
Again, you wrote out the letter and everything. You know what I mean? So you have like a well-made letter. It's just a matter of getting somebody to pay attention or whatever. I mean, 19's a solid number. Let's not scoff this.
19 probably be fine.
Yeah. Well, if there is any luck, I want it for the next fortitude save.
Cool.
So.
Yeah.
So the doctor is going to be achieved. They are going to come in aid, and because you went for the highest tier, remove 155 gold pieces from your purse, and they actually have for long-term care, which is a DC 15, they are going to get a...
I can assist them, right?
You won't need to.
To an extent. Okay, good.
Are you sure about that? Can he assist them like he asked?
I mean, yeah, you might as well.
God damn, Scott, you won't need to. Clink.
Where is it?
A plus 12 is a really good number for an NPC.
Yeah, I know.
Hold on. Let me make sure my number is correct. Hold on. 3 from class skill. Plus the character is clearly intelligent, right? So 2 from intelligence is good for an NPC, so that's a 5. 3 for skill focus, because that makes sense. That's an 8, right? Plus you have, I was actually assuming you would probably want to assume they're probably like a good, because they're skilled, they're an expert. They're probably at least 3rd level. So plus 3 more is 11, plus 2 for the kit that they would have used. So that actually was a 15. It's plus 13, not a plus, yeah.
Oh.
But because I'm changing the modifier after we roll. Okay,
I was saying, if you rolled a 1, I was going to be
Much better.
So that's long-term care, and the reason why long-term care matters is because overnight, so let's see, because you're doing a full day of rest, having this person coming after you, you actually heal 4 points of ability score damage. So that 1 constitution you're missing and 3 of your strength damage that you're missing actually get better. So that's good news. Yeah, that's good news. But then there is the next fortitude save. So this is the blindness sickness hits you again. It's triggered the next day. So this time, because the other one you already failed to save, so it hit you once. This time you actually get to make your save before the damage hits you. So give me 1 second.
Did I fail a save? Did I?
You did originally. Yep. When after the surge bit you and whatever. So
yeah.
So this is for it's a DC that I have to beat. It's a DC. Here we go. Okay. So you get a plus 4 to your fortitude save from the doctor providing aid to you. But
Same as before then.
Correct. And I can't remember. Antitoxins, those only help with poison, not with disease, correct?
That sounds right. I mean, I don't know if there's a in lore, like in game thing. In real life, that sounds correct.
Yeah. I'm talking about in-game, of course. I think it's only against poison. Yeah. All right, cool. So you have a +4 from them treating the disease. And your constitution's back to normal, which is good news. And you're probably going to use luck if you have any luck available. Why don't you go ahead and make that fortitude save?
Okay. Don't. Well,
If you fail, you're more or less starting over.
Hey.
So, including the +4 that they provided for you. Wow. You have a pretty solid number, huh?
I do.
4 + 2 for con equals 6. So you must have a +3 from your class, right?
Yep.
God damn.
Cool. Wow, that's pretty solid. All right, cool. You make it. You suffer no more strength damage. You're not permanently blinded, but your eyes do not clear up until all of the strength damage is gone. So the doctor does stay, and they are going to provide long-term care for you one more time. This is again a DC 15.
I will decline it. I'm not staying an extra day.
So you stayed the entire day of rest. So the next morning they kind of like came back, checked in on you, and he's like, "You're doing considerably better. I'm glad to see it. Are you going to stay here?" He's like, "Shall I continue to provide care for you until you are fully rested?"
No, sir. I've stayed long enough. I have a report to make.
Listen, duty is important, but also so is one's well-being. Are you sure you do not want to stay a little bit longer to ensure that you're going to be all right?
Yes, sir.
Well, then make sure you drink this tonic 3 times a day for the next few days, and you'll be fine. He gives it to you. You leave. It is a tonic, but after you do a little bit of an alchemy check.
Jesus.
That's a good idea. You should make some anti-plagues, Jake. Now that you know, you should start alchemying them.
Oh, hell yeah.
Now that you make an alchemy check to check out what this tonic is, it's more or less a combination of tonic, which you know what tonic is, right? So it is like almost like a soda water, right? So it is a tonic, but it's almost like a carbonated, right, soda water, but mixed with effectively the cocoa plant, like cocaine. So like a little bit of an upper. It's more or less all it is. It's a little bit of like a little spike in case you need it. Make sure you take it 3 times a day. Yeah. Like, you sit there, you're like, what is this? Oh. Cheeky bastard.
Then I will.
I'm feeling great. All right. So anyways, you the next day, how much strength damage are you still missing? Is it 1 or 2?
1, I think.
It's 1.
Okay. So after the next night of sleeping and you guys traveling south and so on and so forth, you're able to have your eyes are eventually able to the next day. Everything's still murky. You still have kind of like, your vision's a bit blurred or whatnot, but you actually are able to come out and you imagine you're going to spend a lot of time below deck with your eyes closed or whatever, but you can open your eyes. It's strange, but you can open them. You can finally see again, so on and so forth. And even the day after that, you'll be able to see perfectly normally, which is good news. The redding around your eyes will be cleared by the time you finally make your way all the way back south. Anything you want to add to that there, Jake? Any reports you want to add to?
Any reports?
Yeah, you want to add anything you want to? But that you want to name the disease? No.
Oh.
You river
sure.
blights? Do you like scraglids?
Hey, why not?
Yeah, Scraglids.
Scraglids. Oh, I love it. So good. All right. Anyways, so yeah, you make your way, finally make your way all the way back down south, all the way to the port that is down there. Once you're finally inside the port, you guys are then going to have to get on a proper ship to make your way over back to McGlynn. Now here's the big thing with McGlynn. Did you want to sail over to McGlynn, or are you guys going to try to stick along the coast?
Ooh. Up to Viggo, because
Oh god.
I think honestly, Gallon's fine with going out on the sea again, even because it was like one of those things where it was a humbling event, but he was still able to be fine during it for the most part. The other two, much less so, especially Tristan.
My Patreon
Yeah,
session.
I mean, we're gonna sail.
My Patreon session was just sailing along the coast of the Barrenlands, a little bit to the east of where you guys are.
How'd that go?
They unfortunately lost wind at one point in time, and so they were kind of like dead at sea, all while trying to hunt something down. So they're like, God damn it.
Something. Yeah. What was it? An
was a
undead something?
No, it was a person.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so unfortunately that person kind of got ahead of them because they were stuck dead in the water for a while. But yeah, they actually didn't have a bad time. Oh, there was a mutiny attempt. Oh,
I didn't have a bad time. Oh, there was a mutiny attempt.
they stopped the mutiny, but you know that's what PCs do, right? They bring peace and justice where it belongs.
We didn't have someone. We didn't have a bad time. A mutiny. I feel like chat disagrees with how you're portraying this.
Okay, Ash specifically failed his HT roll pretty hard.
I spent the entire time with seasickness.
Ash spent the good while role playing vomiting. So, you know.
Good,
poor Ash. And Joey failed as well. And Joey was like, I failed as well. Wait, what was the modifier I was supposed to use? Oh, I used the wrong modifier. I now need to re-roll because I used the wrong modifier because I wasn't listening to you when you told us what to roll 3 times in a row for the last, 20 seconds. Oh no, guess I re-roll and succeed this time. Now I'm going to horn my way in on everybody else's RP because I have to re-roll. Joey. All right, so continuing. All right, continuing. So the so you guys head down there and you're gonna take the boat back, correct?
Yeah, we did take the boat back.
Yeah.
Actually, speaking of ADHD, there was one episode of Bluey I saw, Jake, that I wasn't a big fan of. I have to say. Oh, Brittany's laughing at me. She can hear me.
I heard that laughter.
Did you?
Yeah.
So it's called, what the hell do they call it? I think it's called, Brittany, what's that episode called? No. Ah, this is what she sounds like. It was called Army or something like that, but it was actually the only episode I've seen. I've seen a bunch that didn't have the girls in it, and it was specifically about a little Jack Russell named Jack and a little red dog. I don't know what it was named. I don't know, something else. And so the issue was Jack has all sorts of he has a hard time remembering things and he has a hard time paying attention and he can't sit still and so on and so forth and da-da-da-da. So he makes friends with this red dog has a parent in the military. So they always play like military and more or less just acts like a drill sergeant against the kid. And then he's like, no, look, you're fine. And I was like, well, hold on. The takeaway from this episode is that if you have ADHD, that's okay. A little tough love and military is going to beat it out of you. That's kind of like the interpretation I got from it. I was like, fuck this episode. Agreed. I was like, the only episode without the girls in it is fucking trash. Fuck you. It was like Australian government garbage. Get your propaganda out of here. So it was some bullshit.
Yeah.
So.
Let's be honest. Australia's mental health sector is, needs improvement.
It's funny too because most of the episodes are absolutely wonderful. They're charming, they're delightful. It's genuinely one of the funniest ones is the takeaway episode where the dad is just trying to get his goddamn Chinese food. But anyways, yes. I'm the worst.
Thousands of minutes that you watch. Those 8 minutes. That's your criticism.
the one episode without the girls, I like to believe that the actors were like, "Yeah, I'm not taking part in this." That's what I'm assuming. I'm assuming they're like, "I am not taking part in this. I will die on this hill."
You list tears at certain ones. This one is the one that goes through. That's the one you'll keep forever.
Well, I can't remember the episode or the red dog's name. I just know Jack's name is Jack. Is Jack Russell? Walked away. It was like a twirl and walk. Like, I think the eyes led the twirl though. Like, ugh. All right. Anyways, where were we?
We're on a boat.
That's right, on a motherfucking boat. So you guys get down there, and of course you're gonna make your way back to McGlynn. And then just because it's going out to proper sea, I said last time we're gonna make a chance of something happening. Ash is here. Ash loves boats. He loves boating, so he can go ahead and roll me a D100 real quick. But again, the likelihood of something affecting you is very slim. Roll high, and something bad happens.
Oh, so this time it's high and something bad. Fucking goddamn it.
Nah, it's very slim.
It's slim.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
We good.
Yeah. So anyways, you guys are able to get on the boats and travel your way back to the east and back into McGlynn. So everything's perfectly fine. Once you get back there, you're going to be able to report all the details. But I'll be honest with you, continuing any further past this point without Neil, like that big lore dump that happens, and kind of like the crossover information that happens, that was kind of sad for Neil that he wasn't able to be here for it. But maybe he'll check the VOD, maybe he'll catch on the. I actually have to catch on the. I missed the last podcast episode, so I have to do that today. But
yeah, I agree that this point would be fairly important.
Yeah,
for Neil to be
we
back.
kind of have to have Neil moving forward because this is where like more information kind of makes its way in because like important stuff is happening
One
moving
day
forward.
we'll get a full session.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
So
I
it's not.
had to
there's
end a
one
little
thing
early
we
today,
can do.
anyways. Yeah, what's that?
There's one thing we can do. You can let me roll some craft alchemy checks.
Ooh.
The problem with you doing that is when would you have been doing the craft alchemy? Probably on the boat heading south. Yeah, you can imagine that your character after not Sochin, but when you finally see again when you got to Aurorum, you probably could have picked up some supplies there, and grab that to do some checks. In which case you would have. Give me 1 second. Maybe 4 days of alchemy. You could do 5 days of alchemy you could do. You probably wouldn't want to do alchemy on the actual proper ship because there's a lot more tossing and turning. So probably 5 days of alchemy. So because you don't have speed alchemy, quick alchemy, whatever it's called, do you?
No.
Yeah. So I'm fine with you doing some alchemy checks. I don't know what you intend to craft. What is it?
I want to see what I can discover using this sturge thing that I have.
It's a corpse.
Yeah, but I might be able to I don't know, figure out how to make an antidote out of the stuff or something.
Why don't you go ahead and roll me a craft alchemy check?
Or
Alright,
even
and-
a blood thinner would also be something you could probably get out of it if it has enzymes to keep that thin.
Sweet, I'm gonna do that as well.
Okay, so what sturges do is, what do you mean by enzymes, Tesh?
Well, it would have something to keep both like real mosquitoes. It has something to keep the blood thin and from clotting, so it doesn't clog up the actual thing, and also it would have
Correct.
some numbing agent as well.
Correct. Are you saying you would like to have a counter effect to the numbing agent of sturges? Is that what you're telling me?
Are you talking to me or Tash?
Tash, are you saying that you want to feel it when a sturge shoves its dagger of a face into you? I want to
I'm
counter
just
that
saying
numbing
those are
agent.
those
I'm
are
gonna
the
roll
sorts of
me.
things you could use for
craft-
other things.
craft alchemy.
Go ahead, sir. That's a sexy check.
If I'm creating anything, by the way, there's a 3 onto that.
So I would say that you are definitely able to craft for yourself if you wanted to make an anti-plague specifically for the blinding sickness, the strain of blinding sickness, or similar strains that happens to exist inside that area up there, inside the swamp up there. So typical anti-plague, if you were to craft it, is the +5, right? Yay! It's kind of like a antibiotic overall, right? But the anti-plague for specifically that blinding sickness would have a 3 additional, so it'd be a +8 total for the one that's up there. So you're able to kind of like craft a hyper specialized version of that.
Okay. So all in all, it's a +8.
Correct.
Anti-plague +8. Anti-plague blinding sickness.
Yeah, it's the for Gates blinding sickness, correct?
Yeah.
Or Scraglids. So
Scraglids.
it's probably their strain is probably specifically called Scraglids because it'd be blinding sickness or some other names elsewhere, right? So, right, makes sense.
Yeah.
Anyways, so you would just like you'd have bird flu, swine flu, all that stuff, right? Different names for different influenzas. So you would have the next one that you would probably want to do is go ahead and roll me a craft alchemy.
Oh, by the way, that was one higher as well.
You're one higher. Why was that one higher?
So, I forgot the alchemy bench gives me a +1 competence.
It's because you were lacking
So roll
competence.
again. Thanks.
Does that have all the correct modifiers in there this time?
Doesn't.
It does.
Oh, there's +3 onto it for if I'm creating something.
So what I would say is the next thing that you're able to discern is there's actually a thing that exists for alchemists as long as it can be created. What's the word I'm looking for? So we were joking around beforehand about literally making almost like a hypodermic needle, right? So actually utilizing you not be able to use this one because you've done too many experiments with it. But actually, if you were able to collect yourself some dead sturge heads, you know what I mean, you'd actually be able to utilize the beaks or whatever of sturges to craft for yourself a way of almost like injecting potions or alchemical supplies into others. Which could certainly help if you were looking to, say, apply a potion much more rapidly. Because right now, as it is, quaffing a potion is a standard action. But what if one could be done so significantly more quickly? Like,
Cool. That is very, very good if we can get sturge heads.
yeah. So you'd have to be able to. So again, would you want to call that hyper sturge head needle?
I was writing sturge head needle, so yeah.
Some deep tissue
Deep
healing
tissue
pushes.
healing potions.
So anyways, something like that, you're able to kind of like come up with the idea of working on. So kind of dissecting the sturge, that's more or less all you're able to get out of it for yourself. There's really nothing else you're going to be able to do with it at this point. The rest of it's kind of wasted. And you can imagine you spent like a solid 2 days working on this. Was there anything you're actually looking to specifically craft? Anything you were looking to properly do?
Not at the moment. I do have the possibly viable gargoyle fluid.
I would say it'd probably
but
take 4 days, two days each to work on those kind of things, drafting up plans and whatnot. Go ahead. Possibly what?
Viable gargoyle fluid. But I don't know if it's still
Researching
good or
that. There you go. Okay. So you want to do some research on that to the best of your ability. You can go ahead and roll
Yeah.
because you did. Wait, did you roll an alchemy check and you failed, right?
not. I did, and you said
You have to wait till a level up.
You specifically told me, yeah. Oh, was it? Okay.
Usually when you fail a check, you have to wait until there's a reason to. Either that or you have a different, like, proper tools to do it. So
That's
you actually
right,
went to
we
an
were
alchemy
wanting to
lab.
wait till we had the
Yeah.
proper
So
setup,
I can wait till I get to an alchemy lab to possibly do something with that.
Yep.
I imagine you had your own setup back in doing what's the
Yes, I am, Anno. Yes, I am.
McGlynn, that's the one.
You're heading to McGlynn. So was there anything else that you wanted to actually craft with your last day of crafting?
Um,
Because some supplies are nice to have on hand.
yeah.
Sorry, I just read Anno's post.
Alchemist fire.
Alchemist fires are definitely useful. Utilizing alchemist fires to like burn all sorts of things. They actually set things ablaze more than just burn them. They actually set them on fire, which is nice. So I would definitely suggest making one of those. There's specific rules for it. The crafting rules are kind of long. So
Yeah.
That's something we could, if we wanted to, we could.
well, he can
probably
roll
take
the check right now
yeah.
to make it, but before he rolls the check, because there's actually so it's a DC 20 to make an alchemist fire. One of the things that you can do to make it so you craft things faster is you can add 10 to the check to increase the progress. But hold on one second.
I mean, you could probably do that.
G-
I just
oh,
looking at your modifier. Jesus.
just trying to find alchemist fire real quick.
Yeah.
Where the fuck is alchemist fire?
I just love the idea of being the quest giver instead of having to go do that.
It's 20 gold is the value of alchemist fire. When it comes to crafting, the most that you can craft a day, it's based off of it's DC times how does it go? If you desire, in this case, the check result times the DC should be divided by the number of days in a week. So hold on. So usually it's making something. Find the item's price in silver pieces. So if it's 20 gold, it's 200 silver. You pay 1/3 the item's cost in raw materials. So you'd pay 1/3 of 200 silver in raw materials. Then you make an appropriate craft check for 1 week of work. Ignore the weak part. I ignore this part for a second. But if the check succeeds, multiply your check result by the DC. If the results times the DC equals the price of the item in SP, then you have completed the item. So more or less, you're going to do that divided by 7 to find out how long it takes for you to craft this. Unless you have a class skill that alters these numbers for you.
I don't.
Okay. So what you would do is let's have this play out. The DC is a 20. You can increase that DC by 10 to make it a 30, so make it so you can craft things more rapidly. The downside is you actually have a chance of failing. Like you hit a 31 when you rolled a 12, which means you have 3 higher when you craft.
Yeah.
So that means you have to roll 11. You have to roll at least an 8 to succeed.
Yeah.
And then it would be 30 times on 30. How do we do this? It'd be 30 times 30 divided by 7 would mean that you still would technically not finish making that potion in 1 day. Your alchemy fire would actually still take you at least 2 days to succeed. Because it's
we don't have time
200
for
silver
it,
piece
so
value.
It's no problem. I can do all that stuff at a different time when we have leisure time.
Well, and again, if you rolled, say, just to be clear, if you rolled, like, say, a 35 total, which you could totally do, it would equal 150. But what's the max you could roll? Because your modifier would be not a plus 19, it'd be a plus 22.
22.
So a 20 plus 22 is 42. So if you roll the 42 times 30, even if 42 times 30, you would not be able to succeed in 1 day. So just to be clear. So you're just going to abstain then. Awesome.
Yep.
There are macros we can make to do this for you as well. To kind of like math it out for 1 week of work, 1 day of work, so on and so forth. So we can figure that out. And I think you should definitely pour over the alchemist character class sheet to see if there's anything that modifies this to make it a little bit quicker for you. I know there's quick alchemy, which allows you to craft stuff significantly faster, but I still feel like you might be able to craft multiple things at a time, because I know one of the things that Mathis did when he was playing Jack before is he was able to craft kind of like 5 items in 1 day, but they could have just been cheaper.
I think there's
items or
different
something.
discoveries that help with that stuff as well. There might be feats alchemist specific as well. I know I lost some of the class features that speed
of
up
course.
things. So
Because that's not your primary focus. Your focus is
No.
like knowledge and science. So anyways, why don't we yeah. Are we good?
we're good.
Cool, because I have to leave early for work, like I said today, because I have a meeting at exactly noon, so I want to be there at 12:15. So ending 45 minutes early is probably good for me instead of 15 minutes and squeaking in, so this is good. All right, cool. I will see everybody tonight over on Lost Initiative at 9 p.m. EST. I think we're doing an announcement. Either way, so why don't we let Tesh talk about himself?
Yeah, so I actually have something I'm doing tonight. So I can't. I want to still give you an exact time. So first of all, follow me under the Test Tube on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. Twitter to keep up to date with all the things. Twitch because let me look at the time I've currently said because unfortunately they're not giving us the release time. At the moment, I'm looking at around 10 p.m. EST, but it might be an hour or two or even 3 after that. To play some of the new Ark Genesis Part 2, the final DLC of Ark, which I'm going to be starting and playing on stream. However, it is set to launch at 9:30 p.m., and they haven't said anything yet. So that's why I'm expecting it to be an hour or two later, or maybe even more, because it is also notorious for taking ages to install. But keep an eye out around then. I will, at the very least, be streaming it at some stage tonight. Because tomorrow for me, so I'll just wait until it works.
Cool. Funny enough, actually,
on my Twitter.
Not exactly what you were talking about. But I actually swung by a game store yesterday, and they sell used games or whatever there. And they actually were selling Destiny for PS4, and I was like, "Ooh, I might eventually try to play that game." I was like, let's be clear. On Mass Effect, all I've done for the first game is I've gone through Eden Prime and the Presidium and wards or whatever. I haven't even told Joker to take the ship out for its first run. Yeah, as being the person that actually runs the SR1. So,
speaking from experience, I'm not sure you have remotely the sort of time that Destiny requires of you. You can probably keep up to the story, but that's probably about it.
Is Destiny multiplayer, or can you do it single player?
Multiplayer. You can do it single player. So the way that they've moved to doing things is all the main story missions, whenever there's like an expansion and that they're single player, they will have the occasional matchmaking strike. Like you'll go into a mission that will be like 15 to 20 minutes long, and it'll matchmake you with 2 other players. But for the most part, it'll put you in a sort of story of your own for the big expansions, and then the finale to those stories is usually wrapped up in the actual story, and then there's a bonus in a raid. That content's multiplayer. That one's much harder to get into, but in between the big expansions, they've started doing seasons where it's like 3 or so months, and every week there's a new sort of mission you can do. It usually gets you to play a multiplayer mission with other people that it match makes you into, and then you do a single player mission that's a lot more story.
Can I just ask my friends to play with me instead of randos?
Yes, you can.
Okay, good.
Very much so.
Good. That makes
look who's in chat.
Now, do you have a PS4 or can we cross-platform?
So cross-platform is actually coming next season.
Oh, good, because I won't be able to play it until at least then.
Yeah, cross-platform. The funny thing is, this season they actually accidentally opened it up, so we had a week of cross-platform, and everyone was like, "Hang on, you're playing on this console." They're like, "Oops, disable." I assume they have like contracts that say they're not allowed to do it till next season because.
Oh yeah.
Wouldn't be PlayStation has been very anti-cross-platform because they're winning the console race at the moment.
Yep. I kind of care just like with PC. That's all I know.
Now they're finally PC. Giving in, and now we're getting proper cross-platform, so it's good.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyways, Jake, I'm glad you were able to finish up that problem you had.
Fuck off, Neil.
Hi, Neil.
I can't quite remember the name of the affliction you got, but Jake had something happen to him. There was penetration. There was indeed penetration. Can we all give a round of applause for Norway? Neil, Jake got scraglids. Okay, not even joking. He got scraglids. Like I wish this is a joke. I tried to do nothing. That was V-Sword. It was all her fault. It was not my fault. It was all her.
That doesn't sound good. Yeah, no, it wasn't. It wasn't good. Cost him 150 gold.
155.
Let's end the stream.
Yep.
I'm pleased to see you're both alive, though.
Jake was very worse for wear for a while.
Neil, you might want to check the actual session. You might actually want to watch this one. It's like it was crazy long, and there was a lot of lore dump. We definitely took a dump on a lot of lore. So I do suggest that. But anyways, why don't we end this?
I like that name.